Good Wednesday evening, listeners, and welcome to another edition of Conversations of a Sistah here on my YouTube channel. For those of you who are tuning in tonight, I thank you for joining me. Uh, Let me silence my phone because I get notifications all day. Last week, I took your questions. I get questions via email every day, all the time, all kinds of questions. Anything that's going to ignite a conversation, I get those questions via email, my inbox on any of my social media channels. The questions are never ending. So I don't always have time to answer emails. As I stated, I no longer have my assistant. So I am basically winging it on my own. And I don't always have time to answer mail. So, in a lot of your questions, so I decided to answer them live on the air. Somebody sent me a message stating that they noticed something about my political passion. And yes, you are absolutely correct. My political passion is high simply because this country is on fire right now, and not in a good way. There's mass firings throughout the federal government, and people are angry. People are talking about it, and people are fighting back. And they're fighting back through economic resistance as well as taking it to the streets and protesting. So, yes, my finger is on the pulse of this country right now. And I like to use my platforms to talk about it, to make people aware of what is going on. And it's like every day we have the latest of the greatest in breaking news. And this week, the Trump administration leaked classified information about the attack in Yemen to a journalist from an Atlantic newspaper. And when I heard about it, when I first heard about it, I said, oh gosh, they are now going to go after this poor journalist. They are going to lie and attack him with every being of their personalities. And that is exactly what is happening in less than 24 hours. But any of us who have common sense knows that the current administration that is in the White House is nothing but a clown circus, something but a circus. Because at the end of the day, when you elect a clown, that's what you get. You get a circus. There's nothing but an administration of incompetent individuals that are in the White House. And that should concern us all because we should know that we are vulnerable now. It's almost like we're on the world stage and every other country hates us. And we've gotten buddy buddy with Russia all of a sudden. So, yeah, the country right now is a hot mess. The current administration is a clown show, and none of us at the end of the day should feel safe. They talked about Sleepy Joe, but at least when we went to bed at night, we knew that we were safe. We knew that Joe Biden's administration wasn't leaking classified details. And this was a major data breach. This was a major security breach, I should say, because you had a journalist in the chat, you know, with top officials of the Trump administration, including J.D. Vance. communications being passed. And because they've attacked a journalist and they're calling him all kinds of liars, what he's done is he's released the full throttle of the text messages. They're calling it the signal gate because I think the app that was used was called signaling or signal. It's not one that's popular. It's not one that they recommend classified information being used on, but that was the app that the chat was taking place on. I don't know if any of you have ever worked um, in government entities, and I have, and I've had to have a security clearance. And there are rooms that you can't access within these government entities unless you have a security clearance. So that's how tight things are supposed to be within our government on the federal level. But as we can see with this current administration, anything goes. So it's like you have the stock market going up, down, in, out, because we have Trump playing with tariffs. It's like tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs imposed at 50%, tariffs imposed at 25%. It's like every day he gets up and he doesn't know, what country he wants to impose tariffs on. And in the meantime, our economy will suffer for it. We will suffer for it. And you have federal workers being fired. He's now getting ready to gut. He gutted the Department of Education, or so he think he has, because someone sent me an article today saying that the Department of Education is actually suing him. I should Google how many lawsuits that are out there that are against the Trump administration. We already know that he has to send the USAID workers. He has to hire them all back. He has to give them their jobs back. This one woman was rehired and she got a job back along with back pay. So, these lawsuits are fierce and they are coming hot and heavy. You have students at Columbia University suing the Trump administration simply because he's trying to stop their right to exercise protests. He's saying that the protests are violent when they have not been. So he's finding out who's leading these protests and he's going out and having students arrested, because of protests. When freedom of speech is a constitutional right in this country, as well as peaceful protesting. So, I mean, it's like one lawsuit after the other. But I think that Donald Trump said that he likes lawsuits. Lawsuits are nothing for him because he's used to lawsuits. He's used to being in court. I find that extremely tacky, you know? When you're in court, I think that's tacky. When you're constantly fighting lawsuits, and I guess it's the taxpayers that are paying for his attorneys because he has one lawsuit after the other. So I guess he just has a group of attorneys going to court for him each day behind all of these lawsuits. I mean, come on. This is what we knew. This is what I stated. I stated that another Trump presidency would be nothing but chaos and drama. And that is exactly what we have because you cannot hurt people or try to become a king or a dictator without people fighting back. The United States doesn't have a king. The United States of America, we will never fall for a dictatorship. And he's already trying to come for people's freedom of speech. People can say whatever they want against him, for him, or otherwise. We all have that right. But I think it's funny how the laws are upside down in MAGA world. So, okay, right now, Trump's sidekick is Elon Musk. We all know it. Elon has taken a hit with Tesla because of his actions inside of the federal government. Firing people, just causing havoc in people's livelihoods. And when he took to the stage at that Republican convention with a chainsaw, that was heartbreaking because he was actually mocking the fact that he was cutting federal spending in half. I'm sure that when a lot of people voted for Trump, they had no idea that when he talked about cutting federal spending and catching fraud, that this meant that he was going to get rid of their jobs. And they keep mentioning fraud and talking about fraud, but no one's been charged with fraud. We haven't seen any receipts of fraud. And the receipts that have been produced, people have found that they are false. They are fraudulent. So come on, who's the real fraudster here? He's ripping off the American people. And every time they talk about Social Security, I get nervous because so many people live off of Social Security. They worked for Social Security. We all have. That is our money. And they're talking about touching it. You know, I encourage everyone to go online if you can, log into your Social Security accounts, get your statements so that you will know how much the federal government will owe you if Trump robs us and take it for the billionaires. Because trust me, they take my money, oh, they're going to pay me. And yeah, I will sue. You work all your life. This is money that you've saved, and you're going to have somebody steal it? That's almost like home invasion. No one's going to deal with that. No one's going to take that because that is our right. That is our money. That's money that we paid into all of our lives. And none of us are going to allow ourselves to be robbed. Oh, hell no. Some people were talking about starting a class action lawsuit. I'm here for whatever. But right now, I'm standing strong on this economic boycott because this economic boycott, Amazon, Target, Walmart. And yes, I've seen the emails of people stating they can't stop shopping at Walmart because, Walmart has cheaper prices. Walmart is more affordable. Trust me, I get it. I do. I get it. But I'm going to tell you something. I was looking for a particular soak by Dr. Teal's, and I went on Walmart's website a couple of months ago, and this foaming soap was like $6. I went on Walmart's website this past week. That soap was $14. So what I did was I was like, oh, that's crazy. I'm not paying $14 for soap from Walmart. We're boycotting Walmart anyway, you know? So what I did was I Googled, the name of my foaming bath, you know, and it came up at a dollar store near me. And it told me that it had 3 left in stock. Well, I think I got up the next day. I went to the dollar store in my neighborhood where they said it was. And sure enough, they had 3 in stock. And it was listed at $6. So I paid for 3 what I wouldn't have even paid for 1. Because I think my total came to like $18. No tax. $18 flat is what it came to. So yeah, it's like Walmart can kick rocks as well as Target. And I understand that they're losing money because people are actually boycotting. Economic boycott. And there's going to be another economic boycott and shutdown April 14th, I believe, through the 24th or the 28th. I have to see. But I'm sure I'll mention it and I'll talk about it again as the boycott nears and as it approaches, because some people feel like they're helpless, but you're not. You cannot participate by not spending, going local, spending in your neighborhoods, and not spending with these oligarchs that own these big corporations like Target, like Amazon. You know, as I stated before, I love Amazon. Whew, I was hooked on Amazon because Amazon is so easy to shop in, you know? They have that overnight shipping and they give you rewards and, and you get credits and all of that. And now that I haven't been shopping, it's like all the rewards are adding up. But it's also like a way to lure you into shopping. And I haven't. I've been really disciplined. And it's causing me to take a look at all the money that I have been spending on subscriptions yearly with different items just to have them shipped. And I think that that was a setup. So this whole economic boycott had me looking and reevaluating what I spend daily and or on a monthly basis. So it's just something to consider. I understand it if you have to shop at Walmart and how some people are crazy about Target. But I think that when we realize the power of our dollar, we will do better. We'll come up with alternatives because we have to. So now, on to your questions. And I've had a couple of them this week, but I want to address the ones that I remember from last week. I know that I received an email from a young lady who talked about how her boyfriend hurt her and she didn't know whether or not she wanted to work it out with him. So she wanted my opinion on it. And that's all I can give you is my opinion. I don't understand. It's like people think that because I wrote the book about conversations that I'm an expert on relationships. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. You learn from relationships. You get wiser and you're able to advise people. But I don't think that I'm an expert on the conversation. But I appreciate the questions that come to me anyway. So she does not know. Her boyfriend hurt her. I think she said she's been in a relationship with him for 6 years. And she was saying that he is trying hard to work it out with her so that this is something that they can get past. And what I say to that is that there's nothing wrong with that. I think that we have to decide what our deal breakers are. What are the boundaries in our relationships? When you set those boundaries and your partner cross those boundaries, then you like take it from there. But nobody should get hurt. I'm not saying that everybody's perfect. You're going to get hurt at some point in life. But I just think that when somebody cares about you and when somebody loves you, they should take your feelings into consideration. They should think 2, 3, 4, 5 times before actually hurting you. Because when you hurt someone, it has consequences. But if he is trying hard and if he is trying earnestly, as she stated, to work it out and to bring her back from the hurt and to assure her that he's not going to do it again or it's not going to happen again. And no, it was not infidelity. For those of you listening and might be thinking, oh gosh, did he cheat on her? No, the first thing she said to me was that it wasn't infidelity. And she did not share with me what the hurt was. She didn't go into detail, but I can say that if it's something, a situation that you can get past and something that you are willing to work out with him, I say, why not? Especially if it's worth it. You know, you can't always throw away the bath water with the baby or the baby with the bath water. If the relationship is good and you respect each other and you're consistent with each other and you're consistent with your intentions and he's consistent with his intentions and is healthy, I say work it out. Don't let him go. I mean, 6 years. It sounds like so far it's worth the investment. So why not just go all the way? I think I would. Why not? especially if he has potential. I think that would be great. So hopefully that answered that question. I had someone else send me an email asking me if I learned anything different or anything new this Black History Month. And I actually did. They wanted to know if I learned something that I did not know. They knew that Harriet Tubman was my favorite pioneer. Thank you, because she is. That means that you've paid attention to all of my past shows, because Harriet Tubman is my favorite pioneer. And what did I learn this Black History Month that I did not know? That was a good question, because what I learned this Black History Month that I did not know is that Martin Luther King was murdered. And I'm not talking about when he was shot um, on the balcony of the hotel. I'm talking about he was alive still when he was rushed to the hospital. He was alive. And the person who tells the story, I don't even remember where I read it. It might have been a book article, but the person who tells the story said that King was alive. King was breathing when he got to the hospital. But some men, I think he said it must have been the CIA, they came in and they ordered everybody out. Stop working on that nigger. And they ordered everybody out of the ER. Everybody out. And he said that he stood in the door and he watched. And they actually smothered him to death. They took pillows, they took whatever was in the room, and they smothered him to death. And they wanted the world to believe that he died of this gunshot wound when he did not. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I had a hard time sleeping after I read that, because all of my life I was told, I was taught, and it's even in books, how Martin Luther King was assassinated because he took a bullet on that balcony. And that's not true. That's not what happened to him. He was actually murdered. And maybe that's why his family recently settled with the family, with the federal government, because this is something that they found out eventually. Because I can't remember who it is that's telling the story, but he's actually telling the truth as to what happened to Martin Luther King. And I thought that that was cruel and horrific. So I think that this is why, you know, you have a lot of people, you have a lot of people in power that's trying to get away or trying to do away with Black history, Black history books. You have a lot of people in power that's trying to do away with Black history, because Black history and the way African American people were treated was so horrific. How I read that, Nat Turner, his body was burned and boiled. They boiled his skin. How African Americans were boiled and cooked, and their skin was used to make shoes, and how African American babies were fed to alligators. Like, the things that you learn when you go beyond what's taught in school about Black history, it will blow your mind. And this is why they don't want our history taught, because it's pretty horrific. And Black History Month is not just in February. Black history is 365 days a year is Black history. I think that we should try every week to learn something about our history, because it'll blow your mind, good, bad, or indifferent. And when you don't know, you feel good. But when you know, it's a horrible feeling. And it's an awakening that everybody should have, because I think that our history is worth knowing. Is it sad? Yes. Is it horrific? Yes. Is it tragic? Yes. This is why the people of today, the African American men and women of today, they say a lot. We are not our ancestors. We are not. Our playbook is different. Why? Because we've learned from them and we felt that pain from what we saw, what we've witnessed, or what we've learned, or even what we've read. And we are different. We are not our ancestors' generation. That's not us. This is a new generation. So for us, we have nothing to lose because we've been there and we've done that. And you have the Trump administration that's trying to ignite African American people by talking about, no, I'm sorry, not talking about it, actually unbanning segregation. Oh my God. Everyone was talking about that. Segregation. What do you think about segregation? I have no thoughts about it at all. It's on a federal level. I don't think that anyone would be upset if we were segregated. You have so many African American entrepreneurs that complain about how we don't support each other. So, yeah, segregate us because then we actually will. Come on. Black people, we start trends. We spend the most money in this economy. Are you kidding? I know some black people who have closets and closets full of nothing but sneakers and they're paying rent. So come on. We spend the most money in this country and you're talking about segregation? Like we're going to be hurt? It's not going to hurt us. If anything, it's going to help us build. It's going to make us stronger because we were before. We had the Black Wall Street. Y'all remember that? Yeah, they burned it down. A lot of these strong communities that African Americans became entrepreneurs in and were thriving, yeah, they burnt them down. Look it up, read it, know your history because it's there. It's a truth, and it's an ugly truth that people don't want you to know. They don't want you to know what was done to African Americans in this country. Read about it. You should definitely read about it. And to this one email, and this is my last one because my time is coming up. Um, I have a young lady who talked about the love of her life. He's the love of her life. But she said that he has smelly feet. Oh, God. Yeah, I got that type of email. She said, Miss Tracy, what do I do? She said, I don't even know how to tell him. Well, I'm going to tell you a secret because she said that, she loved him dearly, yada, 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 but his feet smells. So that means that wherever she is with him, she's smelling his feet. I guess he take his feet off. Take his shoes off. Not his feet, but he take his shoes off and she smells his feet. And she said that they even smell when he gets out of the shower or the bath or whatever. So I think that what would be good for him is some type of tea tree oil or some type of tea tree foot bath would be good for him. I use a tea tree bath gel. I use it on my whole body because I I get irritated a lot. I deal with allergies and I break out in hives. So what I did was I purchased this tea tree bath oil and it's supposed to be like just for the feet, but you could use it for the entire body. I use it for my entire body. And what it does is it calms my skin. Now, I don't have smelly feet, but it's good for the feet. And I think that that would eliminate the odor. And to that particular listener of this show, if you email me a reminder, I will tell you the type of tea tree lotion to get for him. So until next week, I thank you for tuning in. I thank you for your questions. For those of you who are sending me reels, I am reeled out. Please stop sending me reels. A lot of things I've seen already, a lot of it I've read already, because I have everyone sending me reels, reels of messages, reels of videos, reels of conversations. I am up to here in reels. I thank you, but I don't need them. Until next week, I thank you for tuning in to tonight's conversation. Continue to send me your emails. And if I don't respond to you, I'll address them here live on the air. Next week, same time, same bat channel, 8 o'clock p.m. here on YouTube, Wednesdays. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you then. Have a great week.